Hello and a very warm welcome to everyone watching this episode of Inspire Gen Z, an initiative by Directorate of Information and Public Relations, Jammu and Kashmir. I'm your host Shadab Gilani, and today with us is Dr. Suneem Khan, who is presently associated with CRPF as Senior Medical Officer. Welcome to the show, Suneem.
Thank you, Shadab.
सुनीम, सबसे पहले आप हमें अपनी जर्नी के बारे में बताएं. आपके इनिशियल स्टडी आपने कहाँ से की, पढ़ाई कहाँ से की? बिकॉज हमने सुना है कि आपने कहीं बाहर से पढ़ा है, तो उसके बारे में थोड़ा बहुत बैकग्राउंड दे दीजिए. आपकी मेडिकल स्टडीज़ कहाँ से हुई?
I went as an exchange scholar to Europe, one of the top-notch universities of Europe from the Indian side back in 2000, and finished my graduation in the year 2007. After finishing my graduation, I finished my internship back in Delhi and came back here and joined as a postgraduate resident in hospital administration, Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences. So that completes my educational and post-graduation experience. And whilst I was in the last leg of my residency program in Sher-e-Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences, I came across this opportunity of working as a doctor in CRPF. So back in those days, किसी को नहीं पता होता था कि CRPF is a distinct entity and Army is a distinct entity. There is CAPFs encompassing CISF, ITBP, CRPF, BSF, Assam Rifles, so on and so forth. And then there is Indian Army. And then there is Army Medical Corps under Indian Army. Nobody would know the distinction, not at least somebody of my age and somebody of my know-how back in those days would know the distinction between the two. So I was on cloud nine. I said, no, I'm going to join the armed forces.
So you thought कि मैं army join कर रहा हूँ?
No, armed forces, not per se army. I said I'm going to join one of the branches of army. That's how I, dived into it. I went through the recruitment process and was posted in Sopore. Sopore back in those days was the hotbed of terrorism. I mean, going there to the unit headquarters to attend your duties and then coming back and coming out of that particular complex where your unit was located and coming out of the town, it was a Herculean task. Trust me, it was a Herculean task. Back in those days, immediately after my posting, a few days down the line, I had to align my movements with the local superintendent of police and the police stations falling on the way. It was that difficult and the timings had to be very unpredictable. Own challenges initially were frustrating, but as I got accommodated, as I got acclimatized, it all turned out to be something that I started loving. 2012, I got posted in Srinagar sector. One of the units got vacant here after the incumbent got posted to Delhi. I remember his name was Dr. R.K. Singh. He was an ENT guy. So I took over the position and remained posted in Srinagar only for rest of the time as we speak today.
So Suneem, you talked about that आपने CRPF join किया. वो सारे procedures के बाद you got posted in CRPF. So do you think कि earlier there were many challenges as you mentioned, but उसके बाद क्या ऐसी difference आपने देखी खुद में as a person जो शायद अगर आप कहीं और posted होते तो वो differences आप नहीं देख पाते?
You have to understand, I am somebody who was born in 80s. 1989 when the insurgency starts, so did our formative age start. We started understanding the things. तो common public आम लोगों के दिमाग में जिस तरह से ड्रिल करी गई disaffection, नफरत towards particularly these institutions, these instruments of the state like CRPF, BSF, police. Exactly the moment I entered as an official into one of these institutions, a lot of myths started breaking apart. I'm telling you as a doctor who has put in 13-14 years of service with the constabulary, the officers, subordinate officers by now. I'm telling you, there are people like you and me. They have their struggles. They're worried about their children. They're worried about the upbringing of their children. They're worried about their partner. They're worried about their parents. In fact, their predicament is more than ours. We are home. They aren't home. They are in a different region of the country, away from home, for the sake of earning dignified, earning bread and butter for their family. And so comes the set of predicaments, as I explained.
आई डेंट नो कि सीआरपीएफ और आर्मी में डिफरेंस है. आई डेंट नो कि कोई पोजीशंस निकलती है, वैकेंसीज होती है सीआरपीएफ में एज अ डॉक्टर वहाँ जाने की. और आज वो सारी चीज़ें जो आम लोग हैं, यंगस्टर्स हैं, उनको पता है, वो क्लियर हो गई हैं.
There was no social media back in those days when we were growing up. And the moment I joined CRPF, the social media was not in full bloom as it is, as we see it today. And in the being a doctor in the force was something which was portrayed in cinema, in the other media, of a doctor in the armed forces only. You heard of a doctor in the United States armed forces, Indian Army ka doctor. You would not, perhaps even now, you would not see a doctor in the paramilitary forces. या किसी भी आप फिल्म या किसी भी आप सीरियल में कभी नहीं देखेंगे कि सीआरपीएफ में तैनात डॉक्टर साहब. See, by now we know CRPF is a federal police. It is meant for the maintenance of internal security. But you wouldn't hear of it. I mean, how would you come to know about things from the media only? You come to know, in my age, you would come to know of things from newspapers. You would come to know of things from advertisements working on that, running on the television. You would come to know of things from the serials, from the films. Bollywood mostly. It was our window to the rest of the world. It was something that shaped our emotions as we grew up. Now social media does that, and it doesn't do a good job, I would say. That is perhaps one of the cardinal reasons behind the fact that I did not know the difference between being a doctor in the CRPF and being a doctor in the army. So I was on the cloud nine that I'm going to join armed forces, army. One of the branches of army.
So now the notion is clear.
More than. Now I understand the institutions better. I am 42 by now. I'm in the 43rd year of my age. I understand completely how the institutions function and what is the hierarchy in an institution. How does it work? Everything. Maybe not to the fullest extent, because life is a continuous process of learning and you are a perpetual student. But I have done a fairly good job at the learning process so far.
सुनीम, यूजुअली हम जब कहीं भी देखते हैं डॉक्टर्स की लाइफ ओवरऑल बहुत हेक्टिक होती है, ओवरऑल इन वट एवर कैपेसिटी दे आर वर्किंग, बी इट इन एनी हॉस्पिटल और एनीवेयर. तो एज अ सीआरपीएफ डॉक्टर कितना हेक्टिक प्रोसेस है वहाँ काम करना?
Pretty hectic, and you need to be very alert. You have your set of deadlines. You have your. The only thing is that there are set procedures for you to follow. You are a custodian of the health and well-being of 1100 personnel at any point in time. You have to predict the morbidity. You have to prevent the morbidity. If I put it in the simple terms, you have to predict the diseases, you have to predict the medical events, and then prevent them at a unit level. At a composite hospital level, it is different because it comes as a secondary level care. I'm speaking about the unit level. In a unit, there is a set procedure. You have to predict the event of a disease and then prevent the event of disease. So the application of mind is continuous. There is something called annual medical examination. It is applicable from the constable to the officer, general ranking officer, inspector general. And there are 5 factors of that annual medical examination. Those 5 vectors are SHAPE. It's called shape system. S stands for psychology, H stands for hearing, A stands for appendages, P stands for pathology, E stands for eyes. So once in a year, all those 1100 personnel of your unit, of which you are the custodian of health and well-being at any given point in time, you have to assess all those 1100 people over a period of 1 year and then dig for comorbidities. Most of them are hypertension. Sometimes there are deficiencies in hearing. Sometimes there are deficiencies in vision. Sometimes there are pathological findings. Sometimes, in many cases, there are psychological events. Then, from that repository comes your work, your caseload of personnel with psychological disorders, the caseload of personnel with hearing disorders, the caseload of personnel with appendage deformities, the caseload of personnel with pathological deformities, and the deformities associated with vision. The inference is that the bottom line is that you've got to make sure that your personnel are fighting fit. So your role is very important, very important. And जैसे जैसे वक्त गुजरता गया, जब से हमने ज्वाइन किया, with the process of evolution, ongoing evolution, the force got involved in operations on a better and very structural way. So the role of doctors also got involved in operations. For instance, the personnel of your unit or the assigned column gets involved in a certain anti-terror operation, you have got to watch their back for battle injuries. So there also your role comes to be very, very, very crucial, because you have got to make sure that the battle injuries get a very quality pre-hospital management, because by the time they reach a surgeon, by the time they reach a cardiothoracic surgeon, by the time they reach a neurosurgeon, that pre-hospital management plays a very crucial role. It sometimes buys life, and I've seen it, and I've really seen it. One of the cases of, for instance, a commanding officer in 2017, his name was Chetan Cheetah. He was shot 16 times in Bandipora. 16 times. The doctor there on the ground did a good job of giving him a good pre-hospital care. He was heli evacuated to 92 base hospital, managed here for a couple of days, and then ultimately flown to All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Chetan Cheetah, as we speak, is alive even after 16 bullets. He's officiating as commandant of a particular unit, and he has risen to be a symbol of resilience. I mean, nobody could imagine that Chetan Cheetah would survive.
So Suneem, as a doctor in Kashmir, if we talk about in CRPF, there are many people from different parts of India. So यहाँ का climate different है, यहाँ की climatic conditions different है. यहाँ सर्दियों में एक अलग माहौल रहता है, बहुत सारी बीमारियाँ सर्दियों की वजह से बढ़ जाती है. तो वो सब को किस तरीके से आप cater करते हैं?
That also plays. It's a very important aspect that you have touched, Shadab. CRPF के किसी भी यूनिट में at any given point of time you have people from Punjab, you have people from Madhya Pradesh, you have people from Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Gujarat, so on and so forth. India is very vast, diverse. Climatic conditions in those areas are relatively temperate.
Very hot.
No, I would say relatively temperate. Very hot would be too radical of a statement. Relatively temperate than ours. अगर आप देखेंगे तो हमारा खून जो the blood viscosity in people like you and me is greater than theirs. ये लोग यहाँ आकर अक्सर cardiovascular conditions का शिकार बन जाते हैं. Their blood pressures start shooting up. अगर आप थोड़ा सा delve करके देखेंगे, the cardiovascular events, they start taking place effective mid-November right until Feb end. There is a spike.
Locals के साथ ये चीज़ होती है.
No, not locals. Those who are stationed here, the personnel in CRPF, and I'm sure in other forces as well. There is a spike in cardiac events. और दूसरा, एक आपका जवान रात भर में ड्यूटी कर रहा है, बेचारा, he tries to keep himself warm in a certain morcha. He tries to enclose the cavity completely so that he is not bitten by the cold. बुखारी जल रही है, he's completely unaware of carbon monoxide poisoning. We've seen cases lately जहाँ पर बुखारी की वजह से deaths हुई. Death of an individual, and then the unfortunate part is the post-mortem burning. The individual got burnt there because he fell on the Bukhari and he got burnt there.
सो इन चीज़ों को कंट्रोल करने के लिए कुछ अवेयरनेस कैंप्स वगैरह ये ऐसा कुछ होता
ये ऐसे basically these things have been happening, and there is a very robust mechanism in place at the executive level, at the level of command, executive level of command, the inspector generals stationed in Kashmir and Srinagar. Kashmir Ops Sector. When I say Kashmir Ops Sector means Pantha Chowk onwards until Banihal and the North Kashmir. Srinagar Sector is your Central Kashmir. Srinagar, Budgam and Ganderbal. So both the sectors have a different IG. So the note of these issues have been taken long back, and there is a robust mechanism in place in terms of putting preventive measures in place for these. Of course, the indices have been greatly controlled as we speak, but they still do take place every now and then.
So, Suneem, you talked about morbidity and mortality. So, you were associated with CRPF in 2020 when COVID-19 hit us hard. ये एक दुनिया भर में बीमारी फैली हुई थी, हर जगह लोग इससे मर रहे थे. CRPF जैसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जहाँ पे लोग एक क्लोज्ड एनवायरनमेंट में रहते हैं, हज़ारों की तादाद में रहते हैं, तो उस चीज़ को कैसे कंट्रोल किया गया, उस टाइम पे क्या मेजर्स लिए गए?
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन, समथिंग दैट आई एम वेरी प्लीज टू शेयर. उस टाइम पे पूरी दुनिया, जैसा आपने कहा शादाब, इट वाज स्ट्रगलिंग विद डिटरमाइनिंग कि व्हाट्स हिटिंग अस, एंड देयरफॉर द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया and the government of Jammu and Kashmir, everyone was, even the scientific community was very clueless. कुछ लोगों का कहना था कि स्पाइक प्रोटीन है, कुछ लोगों का कहना था कि कोमॉर्बिडिटीज़ के साथ एसोसिएटेड मैनिफेस्टेशन इज़ ऑलमोस्ट फेटल. कुछ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट का ये कहना था कि नो, इट्स नॉट फेटल बट इट्स मैनेजेबल, बट इट लीव्स विद सम सॉर्ट ऑफ रेमिनेंट डिफॉर्मिटीज़, so on and so forth. Abhi bhi, this subject is still open to there was complete chaos, and so was in CRPF Kashmir Ops Sector plus Srinagar Sector. I remember there was a gentleman by the name of Zulfikar Hassan. He's a 1988 batch IPS officer from West Bengal cadre. At the moment, he's posted as Director General of Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. He was officiating as Additional Director General Jammu and Kashmir Zone back then. One fine evening, he called me to his office, and I saw him immersed in a deep thought process, and he said, Suneem, this is something which is being taken note of at the national level by the leadership and by the highest level of executive as well. I mean, we've got to do something about it. I mean, you would know it better than me. I'm an IPS officer. I am a police officer by instinct and by qualification as well, and by experience. And you are a doctor. You would at least know it better than me. That what do we have on our plate? We had a long discussion. I still remember the vivid details of that discussion. He said, "Look, I can provide you with the crude set of logistics. I can provide you with the manpower. I can provide you with the money. Yeah, you can buy medicines, you can buy diagnostic kits, you can buy whatever, but I need a robust testing mechanism in the units on the airport. I need a quarantine mechanism. I need post quarantine measures, scientific measures. I don't know, Shadab, God helped. एक आता गया, दूसरा आता गया, तीसरा आता गया. It turned out to be a very big team of doctors, and everyone was more than forthcoming. Paramedical staff and ancillary staff, ambulance drivers, nursing assistants, nursing aides, even constables volunteering to assist us in the team. And it rose to become a very well-oiled machinery and a network of volunteers. I remember Sher Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences helped us with the initial training of those who would take samples of personnel, and that helped us to establish the indigenous testing mechanism at the airport in the units. And the unit commandants were more than forthcoming to spare some space in the units for the quarantine houses in the units. And then the group center Humama, there were a couple of barracks which were empty. They were meant for certain female components. But as I said, Zulfikar sir had given me a complete freedom of putting my finger on anything and utilizing anything and every resource. So I said, sir, one fine day I need these 2 barracks. I will convert them into the centrally located quarantine center for those who turn positive at the airport. And then we had doctors attending to those positive cases in shifts of 8 hours. Srinagar Municipal Corporation then extended an olive branch by taking care of our biomedical waste. We had an X-ray machine at some place. We had it transported there, took out X-rays. जैसे जैसे दिन बीतते गए, जैसे जैसे वक्त बीतता गया, people from Government Medical College, CD Hospital to be more precise, they agreed to take care of our sick cases. Sher Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences, again, as and when they had resources in terms of beds and in terms of space in the IDB to spare, they did. So bottom line is that professional networking with the co-professionals of the local doctors of CRPF was the key to success. Do you understand? See, I am born and brought up here. I know you from my childhood. We have grown up together. Of course, at any point in time, I am serving in a certain organization, you are serving in a certain organization, and I would come to you and I'd tell you, shut up. Look, my predicament is this. My problem is this. I am expecting this sort of help from you. You would at least spare a positive thought. Let me help Suneem. My face will always have a face value in front of you, because
in whatever
capacity, because after that chaos is over, you will have to face me in a marriage ceremony, in a social gathering, so on and so forth. In a small society, that played a key role. It was, the bottom line is that it was the Kashmiri doctors, to the tune of 85-90%, who played a key role in ensuring that there is 0% mortality in the personnel of CRPF in the second wave of COVID-19, where the indices of mortality and morbidity both were skewed across the nation.
At the end, earlier, आपने ये कहा कि India is a vast country, बहुत different cultures हैं, different languages हैं, अलग-अलग किस्म के पकवान हैं, खाने. तो जो कश्मीरी यूथ है, या जम्मू कश्मीर टू बी वेरी प्रिसाइज, जो जम्मू कश्मीर के यूथ है, यंगस्टर्स हैं, उनके लिए क्या एडवाइस है कि आप उनको बोलें कि वो बाहर जाएं, क्या करें, अपने करियर पे कैसे फोकस करें?
See, first of all, you have to be open to the idea of serving in any part of the country, because this country is yours. ये आपका मुल्क है, and this country is very beautiful as an idea. And then, if by any circumstance, by any chance, if you are serving in Srinagar, if you are serving in Kashmir, or if you are based out of Kashmir because of your domestic circumstances, or because of the chance that you got a handsome employment here, take out a time once in a year to travel to any part of your country and live amongst the people. Explore their sensitivities, their culture, the way they eat, the way they think, the way they look at things. It's more beautiful than ever, and it's more beautiful than what you can imagine. हमें अपना बनाने में बहुत वक्त नहीं लगता है, और रिश्ते बनाने में हम लोग माहिर हैं, हम हिंदुस्तानी. That's who we are. And all of us Indians, including Kashmiris, should cherish and relish this idea. That is my advice to the youngsters.
Thank you so much, Suneem. Thank you for your time. So this was Suneem Khan, Dr. Suneem Khan, who is associated with CRPF. Keep watching Directorate of Information and Public Relations, Inspire Gens.